Welcome to the Drum Shuffle, a podcast offering insights, perspectives, and conversations for drummers. I'm your host, Jamie Eads.
Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Welcome to the Drum Shuffle Podcast. Jamie Eads joining you as I do each and every week. This is episode 159. Hope everybody's having a great week out there and enjoying the early days of autumn all across the United States and the world. We have a great episode for you today. I am going to be joined by a great young drummer, originally from Tokyo, now making his home in New York, Rintaro Mikami, right after this message from our sponsor, Los Cabos Drumsticks. The best kept secret for drummers is finally out. Los Cabos Drumsticks may look like the sticks you grew up with, but these are not your father's drumsticks. Los Cabos Drumsticks is Canada's #1 drumstick brand, and they are coming to a retailer near you. With operations in over 28 countries worldwide, thousands of drummers have already discovered the Los Cabos difference. Using FSC certified wood from Canada and the US, Los Cabos make the finest quality drumsticks, percussion tools, and accessories on the market. The best news, Los Cabos Drumsticks offers you a ton of choice. They have 22 individual drumstick models and 14 percussion tools, many of which are available in 3 different wood types: maple, white hickory, and red hickory. Red hickory comes from the center or heart of the hickory tree and has been independently proven to be both stronger and more elastic than white hickory without adding a lot of weight. While most drumstick manufacturers have shunned red hickory, Los Cabos Drumsticks has embraced it, becoming the only established stick brand in the world to offer a full line of red hickory drumsticks. To learn more about Los Cabos Drumsticks, visit them online at loscabosdrumsticks.com, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and don't forget to ask for Los Cabos Drumsticks at your favorite retailer. Dare to be different. Join the Red Hickory Revolution with Los Cabos Drumsticks. All right, guys and girls, as I mentioned before our break there, we're going to be joined by Rintaro Mikami here in just a moment. Rintaro has a fantastic new jazz record out as a leader called First Fish. It's been out for a couple of weeks now, and I screwed up the release date on this, so I'm actually late getting this episode out, so I apologize to Rintaro for that. But I do encourage everybody to go take a listen to it. Really, really tasty playing, and he is a true up-and-comer in the international jazz community. And I know you're going to get a lot out of this interview. So please help me welcome to the Drum Shuffle, Rintaro Mikami. Hey, good evening, Rintaro. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for taking the time to come on the Drum Shuffle podcast. We always appreciate it. For folks that may not be familiar, you are originally from Tokyo, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So how long now have you been in the U.S.?
So I came here around 2016. That was first visiting to New York.
Okay.
Then I attend the school called Drummers Collective.
Okay.
Do you know that? The name is familiar to you? Yeah. The others, they for studying drums around 2 years. Then I kind of transferred into the new school.
Okay, awesome. So I'm a little bit ignorant of the music scene in Japan. So talk to me a little bit about starting to play drums in your home country. Is there a big music scene in Japan for jazz, especially?
Yeah, there's a used to be really, really big in Japan. I mean, jazz. They have a lot of jazz festival outside. Maybe you have seen a couple like a famous musician came to Japan and play in a kind of outside big stage. But yeah, it's kind of shrinked recently. But now kind of getting again because like jazz musicians kind of more started collaborating with pop music in a way, then kind of started kind of influence each other. So kind of jazz musician can show up on kind of pop music festival, then vice versa in nowadays. So there's a kind of huge, of course, there's huge jazz community, of course, but also huge pop or rock music industry in Japan. In fact, I started playing drums more kind of rock side when I was 12. So then I gradually get into jazz later on.
I got you. Well, I mean, that makes sense. You know, I mean, I come from a rock background for sure. And I know that especially in the 80s and 90s, you know, the rock scene was huge, especially in Tokyo. And, you know, there was a very famous promoter in Japan, Mr. Udo, I think he originally brought Cheap Trick and they did their Live from the Budokan record and, you know, things like that. So I wasn't exactly sure of the jazz scene. So, but that makes sense to me. So how did you gravitate towards drumming? Was it through school or was it just something that you wanted to take up as a youngster? How did you get into drumming to begin with? Yeah,
so I've been kind of interested in playing drums. I think somehow, when I was kind of kids, we are kind of watching kind of weekly TV shows, like music TV shows. Then weirdly I was always kind of gravitated by drumming. I was just only watching drummer and how they are doing. Then, in fact, my dad was used to play drums when he was in college then.
Okay.
I found the kind of old sticks he was using. So I picked up the sticks, then start playing around in the house, like couches or on the cardboard stuff. Then I tried to make kind of cardboard drums, like by myself.
Sure.
Then started playing. Then eventually my dad gave me electronic drums to play. Then I just started by ear, I started studying by ear, just listening to the music I like. I think that was when I was 12. Then just try to figure out the groove, try to figure out the pattern, try to figure out the sticking on the fills. And just, that is how I started playing drums and learning drums.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's such a common story. I mean, I think, so many of us started by, in my era, it was MTV, right? It was the music videos, and it was like, oh my God, I've got to do that. And, you beg your parents until they finally, succumb and buy you a drum set and you start playing. So it's, I think it's a commonality even among cultures that's kind of how it happens for everybody.
Right.
So was your goal always to come to New York, or did that just kind of happen with the educational opportunity?
It's kind of just happened. So actually, I haven't really been serious about drumming until I started really playing in front of the people. So, for example, until end of high school, the drumming was just kind of hobby. And just listening to the music at my home, then just playing my favorite music. Then that was it. Then I was doing different things in the school. But when I was getting into a college, like a usual college, I was majoring marine biology at that time.
Okay.
Just one first year. It's so totally different. But that was beginning. I started playing outside, forming a band, rock band. studying like in a rock venue around Tokyo. Then I did for a year while in the college. Then I started realizing this is my thing. Kind of I want to pursue for entire life. Then I decided to kind of semester off, or then like focusing on just drumming, then see what's happened. Then I have been studying just by myself, so I don't know what to do, what to start, what shall I work on. Then okay, I need to study with someone. Then I ran into one guy then who had just came back from the New York. So that's a kind of beginning to entrance to kind of this journey. Then actually that guy, that teacher, named Yu Shimada, the Yu was introducing me jazz. That was my like a beginning of jazz drumming also.
Okay, so and I'm assuming you started with all the great jazz drummers, Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, so on and so forth, and that's right. I guess you immersed yourself sort of into that world to understand the bass line, right?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think, but actually the first I think record I listened to is I think Blue Train by John Coltrane.
Okay.
And Bill Evans' Portrait in Jazz. Yeah. That two record I think I borrowed from a friend. I think he was a bass player. Yeah, he was a bass player. Then I was playing, kind of like jamming together when I was like a junior high school. Then yeah, he showed me actually that two record. But at that time I couldn't understand what's going on. But at that time, then the time goes on. That when I started studying jazz, then I came back to the records. Then kind of this is kind of I started understanding what's going on. Then this is so beautiful. Yeah, that's kind of how I started little by little dig into the basic and also history of jazz drumming. Then yeah, kind of naturally happens to it coming to New York was kind of naturally happens. Then I went to the Drummers Collective. Then I mostly I practice a lot out there. Like I practice almost 8 hours a day. Then just beside the class, I was almost practicing all day. Then just digging into the history of each style of drumming, like even rock, funk, besides jazz, also of course jazz. Studying like I said, Gene Krupa, Papa Joe, Philly Joe, Art Blakey. Everybody. Then I checked out everybody, transcribed it, studied deeply. Then eventually it led me to interested in studying more. So eventually I decided to go to new school.
Well, I've had several guests that have studied at New School, and I know that's a very how will I say this? A very immersive sort of educational experience. I mean, you have to play a lot.
Right.
And I think the networking there also leads to gigs because you meet these great, sax players or a great piano player or a great bass player. And, you start doing gigs in the city and things like that. Was that your experience as well?
Yeah. So there's a lot of great young players around. And being able to play with them was I think biggest class to me, like just biggest kind of influence and also learning opportunity. Also, of course, being exposed to the great musician, already, playing around. Like I had a chance to study with Ari Honig, Kendrick Scott, Rodney Green, Carl Allen, all great jazz masters. Then being able to listen to their perspective and also share the knowledge about drumming was something special. So these two, the playing with people and also taught by the older cats. That's that's the most two biggest influence in the new school.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, I know that, Tokyo is a big city. But
right.
New York City is a different animal, I would assume. And I've talked to so many folks that talk about, how difficult it is to break into that scene and to work regularly. So, and you've been here, for a few years now. Have you found that the scene is welcoming to you and you're able to work as much as you'd like, or do you want to do more?
Of course, I want to do more for sure. It's of course, I don't never satisfying thing. I think, but I'm so appreciated. Like I had a lot of opportunity to play or perform, in a great occasions. And over the years, even like small gigs in a restaurant or bar, it's just be able to create music because everybody is great in this city. So in any setting, I was learning something new. Then I was finding some weakness about my playing. Then I got to work on that, bring back, shed. Then next gig, I found something again. Bring back. It's always like this. So, city was pretty much, I think, welcoming, or at least my friends was so welcoming that even my skill was not enough to play, kind of play good. But just, friends was kind of, really welcoming, and they were always down to practice with me, having a session with me. Then I was pretty learned from them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know, just my own personal experience. I've never been in New York per se and trying to work, but trying to go to Nashville and work, or it's so hard if you're not out there networking and doing it,
right.
And the old joke is you get experience by getting experience. And so it's kind of a catch-22 in that. But, I'm curious, why the decision to do the new release, as a leader, cause you're still a young guy, you've got a lot of years to go. But, I've listened to the new album, and it's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a great album. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have, but I think most guys wait a little longer to do, that release as a leader. Is this something that you've been working on for a lot of years, or did it just kind of come to fruition?
So I've been, when I was in a college, so started writing more. Then, at that time, still writing was new to me. So still a kind of always been a process. But, for a few years, I was kind of writing part of the music. Then at the, end of the school, I have to do a kind of recitals or something. Then I had a chance to put everything together and try my music out. Then I really liked that. That's how it sounded, and also in a band, in a band setting. Then I think I thought I shouldn't lose this momentum. Then just record something. Then keep it. Then I can see what happened. Then then we did a recording. Then I think it sounded really good. So I think I should release it, even though I know I can build a more career or my skills more. But at this point, I think if we lose this moment, this music never played again, or just it never be live again. So
sure.
So I wanted to put out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that makes sense, and again, I'm not saying you should or should not, but I think it's interesting that you are kind of coming out of the gate as a band leader with your compositions. I think it's great that drummers do that. And, kind of one of the running themes on this podcast is how to not be a sideman for your whole career, right?
Right.
How do you take charge of your career and really, chart your own path in the music business? Because the music business it changes. It seems like every 2 months now, it's
right.
It's completely different than when I was your age and in a band trying to get a record deal and all those things. It's completely different now. So, talk to me a little bit about the recording process of the album and, some of the folks that you had on the album and let me make sure I get the date correct. It's September 15th, the release
correct.
date. Okay.
That's a release date.
Okay. So talk to us a little bit about the process of recording the album and, are you going to do some hopefully some touring around this or what is your goal with the record?
Yeah. So first of all, let me talk about the band member.
Sure.
So all of the band member is, I share the class with, we are so close. We've been practicing together. We've been playing a session together. We've been playing a gig together. Yeah. Then, naturally, when we played together, I knew this is going to be a great band. Then, I kind of picking up the people was so natural. And then this was kind of, easy for me because everybody is so close to me. Then everybody is so passionate about making this music happen or making this music great. So everybody were kind of say something or kind of giving me a kind of comments or idea, arrangement idea or even compositional idea also. Then they've been helping me to shape this music out. So even though this is my title, but everybody was really contributing about shaping this music as one album. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody in this moment. I thank you to every band member who are contributed with. Having said that, so so let's back to a little bit about a background about these compositions a little bit, because when I was composing this music, I was thinking about one experience I had in my life, which was I was living in a small island in Japan. When I was really kid, when I was 13 or 14 years old. So because I was originally from Tokyo, it's a kind of big kind of city. Be able to living in kind of rural area, completely kind of more surrounded by nature or ocean. This experience was really kind of really big to me. Then it's then when I was sorry, it's back and forth. But this experience, even after I came back to Tokyo, this experience was helping me to grow as a man, as a mature people, and even musician. Then when I started writing a tune in New York as a jazz musician, naturally this experience came back to me as a huge inspiration to write something. That I really wanted to say thank you to the people who are living in the island, also island itself, somehow in my career. Then I thought it's a really great opportunity to write something to them. Then I can make an album.
Okay.
Yeah, then or something. Then naturally, really, when I was composing the music, because it naturally happens to, naturally kind of these inspirations came together as a tune, that this album was naturally meant to be to the island that I've been spent in. So yeah, that's the kind of background about music. Then I talked to this concept to all the band members, and they were really into it, and also they are really supporting my concepts, and they understand my feelings. So I think that's also added a lot about making process, about this process. Then I think they are really helping me to, again, like shaping this music as a whole big story about the island.
I got you. So that would explain the title then of First Fish.
Right.
So I'm assuming this rural island that you were living on, a big fishing industry, right?
Not really big, like, there's industry things because it's really small, but I did fishing there. Then that was kind of first experience to deep into the kind of fishing. I still do sometimes, but then the First Fish title track was kind of remembering that moment, excitement about. Then this kind of experience, has been helping me over the years in different occasions, supporting me.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we all take inspiration from different things.
Right.
So, I mean, I think it's cool that you're connecting that back to these experiences that you had, as a young man and growing up. I think that's brilliant. So talk to me a little bit about, getting everybody together in the studio and actually recording this. Was it recorded, over a couple of days, a couple of weeks? What did that process look like?
Yeah. So we recorded just in a day, just one day.
Okay.
Studio called GB Juke Joint in Long Island City. Then I think already maximum take us 3 takes for each tune. Then that was it. Then I picked the take from them, because I think we played all together a lot, and also we've been sharing this kind of concept a lot. The recording went really, really smoothly. The all takes was great, but it was surprising to me because we recorded, I think, 8 tunes, and with my drum solo. So, in a day, it's kind of pretty quick, and pretty, I think, what should I say? Really, sorry, I can't find the word, but really, it's a short amount of time, but, I think the outcome was really, really great. So I didn't really need to add another day also.
It sounds fantastic. And, and I think that's a difference between, my experiences, as a rock musician or playing, funk or country or whatever. I just did an album last weekend and, it was 2 days to get 9 drum tracks done, drums and bass. And then pretty much everything else will get thrown away and overdubbed, right? So to go in and do, 8 songs as a live band plus a drum solo and get it all done in a day, you guys were moving along pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that's a kind of pretty, I think that shows our connection as a friend, as a music friend is kind of strong. I think that's really important to me, those kind of connection between the people, because music, I think, meant to be connect the people together. Then I believe really making music together with somebody who are really connected with is huge. It's a huge power, I think, to and it adds a lot. It adds a lot rather than hiring the people who I don't really know. It's kind of pretty makes the process a little bit harder how to make something great.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you just hire a bunch of folks and you hand them a chart or whatever, and they're just sight reading, it kind of loses some of that emotional connection like that you're talking about, you know. So I totally get that. You know, it really is a great record. What are your hopes with it? I mean, I would assume, like most musicians, you just want people to hear it, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, I want this album to be heard by people as much as we can. But also, I have a release date, release show at the Nobu, September 20. So, yeah, I hope that show attracts some people to new listener also. Now I haven't really done like a book any kind of tour yet, but I'm maybe like next year I'm try to bring everybody to Japan and tour in Japan also. Then hopefully we can do it in the US or Europe soon. I wanna build my career as a band leader, not only as a sideman drummer.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's an old adage in the music business that you have your whole life to write your first record, and then you have, 12 months to write the second record, right? So have you already started the composing process for any follow-up, or are you just happy to be?
Not yet. Not yet, but I'm kind of imagining what kind of music I want to do next. I have in mind a kind of vague kind of idea. But maybe after this release, sitting down, maybe okay. Now, when I'm ready, I'm sure I'm gonna start write again. Then I'm gonna try to make something new. Yeah, from my idea.
Well, I think it's great to see a young drummer such as yourself that says, I'm really focused on my career as a band leader, right? Because it's always easier to take a paying gig as a sideman. That's always the easier thing to do. So, kudos to you for saying, hey, I really want to focus on doing this as a band leader. And, I think that's, it's a big risk. I mean, it really is, because, you have to be able to eat, right? I mean, you have to make money somehow. So I just have nothing but respect for that decision. I think that's a great thing. So talk to me a little bit about, when you are the band leader and it is your compositions, do you feel more, stress or uneasiness about that? Or is it just, this is what I have to do?
Yeah, it's always been a kind of challenging because there's anxiety or stress about being band leader. Of course, I have to take care of the band leader. I have to make sure the schedule right. Also, if is my music good, something like that. But for me, like this, leading the band is whole another lesson I can't learn by any other place. Then being a leader, bring my music to the people who I'm hiring. Then make music somehow. Make music together is just really, really a great learning opportunity to me. I can not only as a composer or musician, but also as a just man or a human just leading the band. It just I'm and also like a business side. And I've running a lot of things by doing this. Then I don't think I can learn these kind of stuff like from the other area. Like just if I play just as a sideman, they make some amount of money. I can't really learn how to lead them, how to be a leader, how to have a kind of responsibility to take care of the people, and also like preparing the music. So, and also like being kind of about kind of open-minded about my composition. Also like it's kind of always a learning opportunity to how to make my music good. Then like be able to hear those kind of opinion from the player I've been playing with. Then it's just affects my writing also. Okay, so that guy said this time, so maybe try this chord next time. Or okay, so this guy said this one, so maybe try this rhythm a little bit. Let's change the melody a little bit. Then, okay, I didn't think about this one anymore. So before, so it's always a kind of opportunity to me. So even though it's hard, or even though it's kind of a little bit stressful, or even though it has a lot of anxiety, I gotta do it in order to be better musician, or in order to be better drummer, of course, and also because I can hear the music differently if I understand composition better. So yeah, and also how I can orchestrate, how I can play drums is gonna change after studying how to build a composition or how to lead the band. So it's for me. I have to do it because and also it's great to be able to express as my one art form. Yeah. That's, I think, biggest thing, I think. Of course, it's really fun to play as a sideman, of course. But we, as a musician, there's a great opportunity to express your feeling or express your thoughts through the art. I think I don't want to miss that opportunity also.
Sure, absolutely. Well, yeah. I think... this is what I tell everybody that asks. I get the question of, I've kind of been a sideman my whole life, or been a member of a band, or whatever the case may be. But, I tell people, the music business is great, except for the business part. Right. So, but it's very true what you said. You are gaining skills by being the band leader that you just can't get anywhere else. And unfortunately, when you're in an artistic or a creative, career field like music or filmmaking, or, you're an author, whatever the case may be, there are no rules for how you should run your business, right? You get to do that as you see fit. There are best practices, but you're kind of writing the script as you go, so to speak, right? So I think it's just really, it's hard, but it's rewarding, and you're learning every day of what to do and what not to do, right? I mean, that's part of being a band leader, is figuring out what works and what doesn't work, and developing your career through all of every decision that you make.
Yeah. So I really agree with that. So it's whole this experience. It's the shading, like practicing is not only has done in the practice room, I guess. I think practicing for me, like I feel like this, living this life is just everything is practice to me. Like just, sending the email is also practice to me. Like then, okay, try and error. Okay, this didn't work. Try this. Also, even like just in daily life, just cooking thing also, like, this didn't work, so try this. So everything is kind of practicing them. Everything kind of music, related kind of, feel. So kind of, I really agree with the kind of, also like, so that's why I'd like to try new thing. So because I'm sure like I'm going to learn something. Even though even though, it might fail in the first time, but, I believe being fail is kind of great opportunity. I think the greatest opportunity to learn something.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. I mean, you could, you could write several novels based on all the things that I've failed at in my life, But every time something doesn't go right, you learn from that, and you know what to expect or what to look out for, next time. Right. I mean, all those are great learning opportunities. So you definitely have the right attitude about it. Let me ask you this, being from Japan, and you were talking about maybe touring in Japan, is your long-term plan to stay in New York, or do you see yourself going back to Japan at some point to develop your career there, or, just whichever way the wind blows?
For now, I'd like to stay in New York more, because the New York, being in New York is such a great, as I said, learning opportunity. And also, I think I have still, I want to learn more. And also, I want to be a cat, if you are playing in in a Vanguard for a week, or playing at Smalls. And those, I think there's a top level musicians, that I want to play with also. Then I want to be able to play with, and also try to see the same perspective as possible as I can. So, of course, Japan has a lot of great drummer and musician, of course. But for now, I'd like to study and also experience more in New York and get better musician. Then I wanna kind of show myself, and I wanna present myself in Japan. Okay, this is how I learn in US. Then this is how I became as a musician. Then I wanna influence the people who are in Japan or even younger age. Then I want to encourage to do something new and try new things, try to be a band leader, try to get into a new genre of music, anything. Because because Japan has a lot Japan has also, of course, a big jazz community, but not popular as much as here. So I'd like to contribute that education in Japan also. So I think for now I wanna stay here. Then more get better. Then let's see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well that makes sense. So I just to kind of recap, and because we went through some of that kind of quick, but the album is called First Fish. It's out on September 15th. Presumably that's going to be available anywhere you can stream music, Apple, Spotify, all of that stuff. Are you also doing a physical release? Are you doing CDs or vinyl or anything like that?
Are available on Bandcamp, so I can send. Yeah, if you can purchase, I can send you. And also, all digital platform, of course, it's available. But if anybody have a CD player, it can be cool to have it, because there's a lyric sheet also, and also I write. There's some cool. I don't know if you're gonna use it, but it's cool, the jacket. Jacket designs also.
Okay, awesome. Well, and the reason I always ask about physical product is because that's typically how you make the most money, right? Because,
right.
So we want to encourage folks to support you fully. So I know that you have a website. Is it just your name? Is that right?
Yeah. Just my name, Rintaro Mikami, rintaro-mikami.com.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to send some folks your way, and I'm just curious, and I always ask everybody, for our listeners that are in the greater New York area, are you teaching at all? Are you giving lessons to folks?
Yes, I've been teaching a lot recently, from kids to adult. Then some of them are really interested in jazz also. So it's been a great opportunity to teach also. Then I'm learning something too from that experience.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we want to send folks your way to help out however they can. It sounds like the release is September 15th. You have a release party, so to speak, a release gig on September 20th. Where is that going to be?
That's Nobu.
Okay.
New York. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to try to send some folks your way. But again, I love the record. I think it's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I was jamming on it this morning, and it put a little spring in my step. So we're going to send some folks your way, and I sincerely mean this when I say it. As your career develops, as you're doing new releases, let me know. We will have you back anytime to talk about what's going on in your career. But it's just a pleasure having you on the show and talking about what's going on in your career and the new release. And I wish you nothing but the best, but please keep us posted on how everything's going.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me and this opportunity. I really love to, share more. It's been a fun time with you.
Absolutely.
So
well, thanks again. And, we'll be talking to you real soon. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys and girls, that's going to wrap up episode 159 of the Drum Shuffle podcast. Thank you so much for listening to our show. We simply cannot do this without each and every one of you doing so. Please hit the like or subscribe button on whatever platform you use to listen to the podcast. It helps us tremendously as we are continuing to grow every single week. The biggest thing you can do to help us out is to share a link with a friend. Just say, hey, this is a show I think you'll like, and send a link over to them, and we appreciate your efforts around that. We do answer every single email we get here at the Drum Shuffle Podcast. Our email address is thedrumshufflepodcast@gmail.com. Our web address is thedrumshuffle.com, and of course you can find more information on me over at jamieeads.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. So until next time, may your head stay strong and your sticks never break. Cheers, everybody.